Welcome to One Chapter, One Thought. I'm Pastor Chris from Lincroft Bible Church in New Jersey, and every weekday I read one chapter of the Bible and offer one brief devotional thought. Today's reading is from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. On July 31 of my 30th year, while I was in the Judean exiles besides the Kibar River in Babylon, the heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. This happened during the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity. The Lord gave this message to Ezekiel, son of Buzi, a priest, besides the Kibar River in the land of the Babylonians, and he felt the hand of the Lord take hold of him. As I looked, I saw a great storm coming from the north, driving before it a huge cloud that flashed with lightning and shone with brilliant light. There was a fire inside the cloud, and in the middle of the fire glowed something like gleaming amber. From the center of the cloud came 4 living beings that looked human, except that each had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and their feet had hooves like those of a calf and shone like burnished bronze. Under each of their 4 wings I could see human hands. So each of the 4 beings had 4 faces and 4 wings. The wings of each living being touched the wings of the beings beside it. Each one moved straight forward in any direction without turning around. Each had a human face in the front, the face of a lion on the right side, the face of an ox on the left side, and the face of an eagle at the back. Each had 2 pairs of outstretched wings. One pair stretched out to touch the wings of the living beings on either side of it, and the other pair covered its body. They went in whatever direction the Spirit chose, and they moved straight forward in any direction without turning around. The living beings looked like bright coals of fire or brilliant torches, and lightning seemed to flash back and forth among them, and the living beings darted to and fro like flashes of lightning. As I looked at these beings, I saw 4 wheels touching the ground beside them, 1 wheel belonging to each, and the wheels sparkled as if made of beryl. All 4 wheels looked alike, and they were made the same. Each wheel had a second wheel turning crosswise within it. The beings could move in any of the 4 directions they faced without turning as they moved. The rims of the 4 wheels were tall and frightening, and they were covered with eyes all around. When the living beings moved, the wheels moved with them. When they flew upward, the wheels went up too. The spirit of the living beings was in the wheels, so wherever the spirit went, the wheels and the living beings also went. When the beings moved, the wheels moved. When the beings stopped, the wheels stopped. When the beings flew upward, the wheels rose up, for the spirit of the living beings was in the wheels. Spread out above them was a surface like the sky, glittering like crystal. Beneath this surface, the wings of each living being stretched out to touch the other's wings, and each had 2 wings covering its body. As they flew, their wings sounded to me like waves crashing against the shore, or like the voice of the Almighty, or like the shouting of a mighty army. When they stopped, they let down their wings. As they stood with wings lowered, a voice spoke from beyond the crystal surface above them. Above this surface was something that looked like a throne made of blue lapis lazuli, and on this throne, high above, was a figure whose appearance resembled a man. From what appeared to be his waist up, he looked like gleaming amber, flickering like a fire, and from his waist down he looked like a burning flame, shining with splendor. All around him was a glowing halo, like a rainbow shining in the clouds on a rainy day. This is what the glory of the Lord looked like to me. When I saw it, I fell face down on the ground, and I heard someone's voice speaking to me. One thought. Ezekiel was about to be a priest, who was then called to be a prophet. Ezekiel was carried off as a slave into exile by the Babylonians around 597 BC. And while we often think of the prophets and prophecy as predicting the future, the far more common message of the prophets was to call the people back to faithfulness to God. And as this book begins in Ezekiel 1, the prophet sees a startling vision of living creatures and wheels carrying someone like a man. But the point of the vision is to symbolize the glory of God. He says in verse 28, "This is what the glory of God looked like to me." And so, in this seemingly bizarre vision here, there is this symbolic representation of what God's glory is. And I think one of the things to notice about this glory is that it's on the move. It has these wheels underneath these beings, and it's can go anywhere. It can move front, back, side, north, south, west, move upward. But what Ezekiel, I think, is seeing is that the glory of God is leaving the people of Israel and is on the move. And what we'll learn from this book is that the reason why the glory of God has left Israel is because of the sin of the people. But let's reflect also on what God's glory is as it's represented in this amazing vision. The Hebrew word for glory is kavod. Kavod. Now, in its concrete meaning, kavod signified a heavy object, something that just weighed a lot, that was heavy to carry. And yet over time, this physical idea developed a metaphorical meaning that something became heavy in value. It then became something important and honored and significant. And so when Scripture speaks of God's glory, it's describing the overwhelming significance and reality of God's presence. And Ezekiel sees this glory in a vision, and it humbles him. He falls face down to the ground. And as we experience the glory of God, as it's now represented not in a vision, but in the face of Christ, in the good news of what Jesus has done for us, as we experience His glory through the gospel, it has the same humbling effect on us as well. We may not literally fall down on our faces, but sometimes that is true, and it does happen when we understand the gravity and magnitude of what God has done for us. But we should be prostrate of heart in our attitude and in our mindset to lay everything down before the Lord because of His glory and what He's done for us through Christ.